The popular history of Las Vegas traces a straight line from empty desert to a glittering oasis, bankrolled entirely by tycoons and mob syndicates. That history ignores the geography of the era. West of the railroad tracks sat a heavily segregated neighborhood, cut off from the immense capital flowing across the casino floors. The historic Westside operated in a deliberate municipal vacuum. The city restricted access to paved roads, running water, and political representation, forcing thousands of residents to navigate life without basic structural support. A functioning society had to be engineered from within. The work was led by a network of highly organized African American women who coordinated the Westside's civic growth. These women established the medical services, legal representation, and financial networks required for a modern community to operate. A neighborhood cannot grow if its residents cannot survive. Securing basic human rights in the Westside required highly visible grassroots confrontation. In the early 1970s, activist Ruby Duncan responded to deep cuts in state aid by mobilizing low-income mothers. They took their demands directly to the geographical center of wealth, temporarily shutting down traffic outside the major casinos. Duncan channeled the momentum of those protests into a social enterprise called Operation Life. She bypassed city planning to bring the neighborhood its very first medical clinic, a community library, and a daycare center. Institutionalizing that survival network fell to leaders like Bessie Braggs. After teaching English at UNLV, she spent over 20 years directing the Community Food Bank of Southern Nevada, securing a reliable nutritional baseline for local families and seniors. By addressing immediate physical needs first, Duncan and Braggs provided the stability required for future economic expansion. With survival mechanisms in place, the community turned toward independent commerce to break industrial monopolies. Sarann Knight-Preddy cracked the state's defining industry. Long before dealing cards on the Strip, she operated Hawthorne's Tonga Club in 1950, becoming the first woman of color to hold a Nevada gaming license. Decades later, she acquired the Moulin Rouge, the city's first integrated casino, and fought to protect its legacy on the National Register of Historic Places. Outside of gaming, Angela Tatum leveraged the stability of her federal postal career to study the hospitality sector. She systematically claimed space in local banquet operations, pioneering high-scale quinceañeras, and establishing multiple culinary venues like Ashley's Eatery and Wellington Place. This map of Las Vegas illustrates the scale of independent enterprise generated during this era. As the administrator of the Economic Opportunity Board's micro-business program, Kimberly Tureaud personally guided the formation of over 900 minority-owned businesses. She expanded that influence across local media, co-publishing Las Vegas Black Image magazine and producing a business radio broadcast on KCEP for nearly 3 decades. Through licenses, real estate, and structured mentorship, these leaders replaced a history of exclusion with localized foundational wealth. This growth eventually led to seats within the halls of institutional governance. After earning her Juris Doctor, Las Vegas native Karen Bennett-Haron took the bench in 2002. She broke a major barrier as the first African-American woman appointed to the Nevada judiciary, spending over 20 years prioritizing civil equity and juvenile diversion programs. 2 decades later, Pamela Goynes-Brown translated 35 years of experience in the school district into executive leadership, assuming office in late 2022 as the state's first Black mayor. These milestones reflect a mature political structure, made possible by the economic and social groundwork laid in the decades leading up to their swearings-in. Cultural identity provides the continuity that prevents a community from being erased over time. For generations, traditional West African folklore and drumming have served as a spiritual grounding force and a vital rite of passage for local youth. China Hudson drives this cultural rhythm as the Performing Arts Center coordinator at the West Las Vegas Library Theater, establishing mentorship initiatives that guide young Black girls into womanhood through the lens of African history. Recognizing that Southern Nevada's Black diaspora was losing its physical timeline, preservationist Gwen gathered thousands of artifacts, traditional textiles, and original documents. By opening a dedicated museum and research center, Walker secured the physical evidence of the Westside's journey, while Hudson ensures its cultural traditions are actively inherited by the next generation. The modern iteration of Las Vegas owes much of its civic complexity to the generational yield of the Westside's earliest trailblazers. The influence of these 9 women reached across the state, setting new standards for Nevada's judicial diversity and its approach to small business development. Municipal growth relies on community organizing and economic empowerment. The initial acts of self-reliance formed a durable framework that future leaders could inherit and expand. By documenting and studying their precise methodologies, other marginalized communities gain a replicable schematic for securing equity, wealth, and lasting representation. The legacy of the Westside survives through the thriving community and institutional power these trailblazers established.